Hello, everybody. Nick the Tiro here. Um, since it's the kind of beginning of Java for many of you, I think it's important that I do a little dissection of a very simple Java program. If you're familiar, maybe you're familiar with Python, and we were to write the program "Hello World." It's one sentence. It's print, open paren, quote, "Hello World," close quote, close paren. You hit enter, and the program run. But yet, when we start working with Java, it seems like there's all this stuff above those lines and all the stuff below those lines. And I think it's a little important that we kind of dissect what is really going on, because this is going to make more sense to you as we get further and further into our Java discovery. So, without getting bogged down with a lot of terminologies about objects and classes and all this other stuff, which is important concepts, let's dissect a little bit of Java here. So, let me switch over to my screen. As we look at my screen here, it's pretty much a blank screen. I really wanted to start from scratch, and a little friendly advice. Be careful about overuse of copying and pasting, especially in your early days of learning programming languages and stuff like that. Yes, at a certain point, it saves a lot of time, and you will see me do a lot of cuts and pastes here. But sometimes you just really want to go from the beginning, so you actually begin to really reinforce the coding language. Well, anyways, we have one file here, and that file is called main.java. Now, that's going to be very important in a second, or in a couple minutes as I explain to it. And you notice that also Replit has a run. If I was to click this run button, it goes searching for a file called main.java. I can't reprogram this run button, so every time I click on this run button, it goes looking for a specific file in the project, and I'll explain what the project is in a bit, and it then looks for this, and then it looks for what we call the main method. All of this is going to be explained in a second. So let's start the dissection of a simple Java program. And I'm going to type public class main. I'm going to put curly brackets here, and I'm going to hit enter. First of all, everything inside Java, all the blocks of code are distinguished by those braces. So when we get into conditional loop, conditions and branches and stuff like that, they look for those braces. So very early on, the entire file, this public class main, is encapsulated with those braces. Now, what is that public class main? Public is a keyword that basically says that this class that we're going to be creating is available to all other classes in the project. Make a little more sense in a second, but just keep that in mind. By seeing this word class, this word public, it's saying any other class, any other, like a better word, program in our project has the availability to use this. Now, most of the time, other classes don't call back the main class. The main class is kind of our launching point. Class, the word class just tells Java we are building a class. Remember, we little discussions about objects and classes. The class is kind of a blueprint, and then an object is what we make from that blueprint. And then you'll notice that we create a class called main, uppercase M. The uppercase is important. This is basically the first file or first program within our project. Now, very early on, as we're beginning just to learn Java, we may only have one file to deal with. And again, I will do a demonstration a little bit showing you how some of these files within this project kind of play nice with each other. So anyways, here's our creation of the class. The next thing you'll see, again, we're just kind of breaking things down. You're going to see public, static, void. Now, these may change, but this is just a brief introduction. Main. Notice that main is lowercase here. What I am creating here is a method. A method does something to the class. Let's say, for example, you create a class called circle, and inside that circle, you might have a method to find the perimeter of the circle, and you may have a method to find the area of the circle, or you may have a method that prints the circle. All right. So a method does something. Now, some understand a good programming, a method only does one thing, and it does that one thing very, very well. So a lot of these classes could literally have bunches of method, but each method only does one thing. So here we are creating what is called the main class. When we run the main, the main method, when we run the main class, this uppercase N, it goes looking for the main method, and that's where it's going to launch the program from. And we'll go into deeper detail later on, but just we can sometime send in arguments, right? Don't worry about that yet. And then we put some braces here. So now, sorry about that. Now what you have here is you have an empty method, right? It's a method that really doesn't do anything. But let me explain what this line is. Well, guess what? This line does the exact same, the word public says the same thing. Basically, that the public keyword means that that method can be called from any other class, right? So it's publicly available to any other class. The word static, that keyword, that's the method that doesn't create anything, right? Doesn't necessarily create anything. Static is just a keyword that means the method can be called without creating an instance of the class. Later on, we might have methods that would, but here, static just means we're not really creating an instance of the class. Void, void is a keyword that just means that this method, this item here, this method does not return anything, okay? And again, as we get deeper into Java, that'll make more sense. We can have methods that would return something. Maybe we're sending a radius of a circle, and maybe we create a separate class for circle, and in there we have a method that finds the area of a circle. We might want to return that area of the circle. Not going to do that in this video, but just kind of explaining where this is coming from. Now, within this method, now we can start writing code. And again, a class, uppercase main, but a class could have multiple methods in it. We only have one main method. Actually, each method in a class has its own unique name, but it does, Java does go looking for this main method within this main class. And here we're going to do our old friend system.out.println hello world. Make sure we have our semicolon here. Now, when I run this, I click run. A lot of things are going on in the background. In the background, if we look over here, basically Java has to compile all the classes in this project. Since this project only has one class, it's only compiling the one class, and then it's running it. Now, Python, a little bit different. Python's an interpreter language, means we don't have to worry about compiling and stuff like that. Python is also an OOP language in which we deal with classes and methods and stuff like that. But everything in Java is a class and a method and OOP, etc. Now, don't worry about the next couple steps that I'm going to do. This is just topics that we're going to see down the road, but it kind of explains a little bit of how all these classes, all these individual files work with inside a project. All right, let me expand upon this. Let us take a look at when we have other classes inside our project. So if I go over here, you can see here's my project. We can call it a REPL, but here's my project. It has one file in it. I'm going to add another file. And I'm going to call this file circle. Give it a second. And it's blank too. Now here, I'm going to say public, meaning that this class is available to all the other classes within this project. And I'm going to create a class, and the class is going to be called circle. do my curly braces before we go any further. Now notice, let me close these up for clarity's sake. Notice that the class name is the same as the file name, uppercase circle. That's important. Classes are always uppercase circle. And we have to have a method in here. Well, let's have a method. Again, a method does something. Now, we're not going to use a main method. That's a different animal. Let's create a method that just says hello from the circle class. So again, I'm going to say public. And what does public mean? Public means that anybody has access to this has access to this method. Static, like we've seen before, again, kind of reiterating or rehashing some stuff. Basically, static is a keyword that means that the method can be called without creating an instance. We're not going to really return a value back, so we're going to say void, and now we're going to give it a method name. We're going to say hello. And we're really not going to pass it any arguments. Again, I don't want to go down the path of what arguments are at this point. And then I'll do another curly braces. And now from here, I'm going to say system out println. And here I'm going to say hello from circle Java. Make sure I have my semicolon. Double check everything. Everything looks right. This curly brace matches this brace matches that. We have, okay. Now let's go back to Java. Let's call that other class. Let's call that. Now I'm going to change it just slightly so we can see. And here under the main class, I'm going to say hello from main class. And I want to call the circle class. I would say circle, give it the method name. And since I'm not passing any parameters, I just say circle, 2 quotes, say hello. Now, let's run this and let's see what happens. Now, what it just did was it compiled every single program or every single class or every single file inside this project, right? And it compiled it and made sure. Now, if there was an error in circle, this would not run. But once it compiled it, it said it was cool. You can see over here from the main class, it said hello from main class. And then it called the method say hello from the circle. That's what this, and here we have this results over here. So quick review, and then we're going to do this in Zybooks. Public means that this class, the main class, uppercase M, main class, is available to all other classes in our project. Class just means we're creating a class, and then uppercase main is the name of the class. We see the same thing here with circle. I'll put some spaces here. Make it a little bit easier to read. And then we do a method. In this particular method, it's the main method, and that's what Java goes looking for, and that's kind of like the springboard, the launching pad, where things start is that main method. And our main method is fairly simple. Basically, we say, hello from main class. Here, underneath circle, we created a method called say hello. And the say hello just says print hello from circle. Going back to here, we print out hello from main class, and then we call the method, say hello to circle, we run it, it compiles, and then we're on our way. Let's do this. And I told you not to use copy and paste, but to save time, I'm going to do a little bit of copy and pasting through the Zybooks. At first, I'm going to go to main class, and I'm going to copy the whole thing, and I'm going to go to Zybooks, and here in Zybooks, I'm going to go to the main class, and I'm going to put my code. All right, so public class main, braces, method, braces. Okay, and then I'm going to go to circle. I'm going to go back here and do the exact same code, do a copy and paste, put it inside the circle class, all right? Exact same thing. Now, when I run this, it did the exact same thing. So hello from circle Java, and Main, we say hello from main class. Class versus Java. I'm sorry about that. I just realized I did that. A lot of little things going on here. I don't want you overwhelmed by this video. But what I want from this video is that basic understanding, something that we can just begin to start with. So when you look at this stuff, you kind of begin to understand, okay, later on, when we get more and more advanced, when you start creating user-defined methods, well, guess what? You're going to build methods. When we get into classes and objects, guess what? You're going to be creating classes and you're going to be creating objects from those classes. So, covered a lot. That being said, let's go learn something.